and wishing you all happy holidays and a happy new year ahead. So, we do have the iGRID pack now available to our iGRID group. So, matter of fact, last 2 days I've been getting the file out to the group, getting everybody activated through our activation deactivation process, and getting everybody set up. This is the initial version of the iGRID pack. Basically, the big component within it is the iGRID dual bands indicator. There's a lot of functionality to it. There's alerts you can turn on, sound alerts, visual cues for when a faster set of bands are leaving and coming back inside to the other set of the bands, and so on. You have the ability to colorize both sets of bands, the faster and the slower bands, and fully able to adjust the speed of both sets of bands. Now, actually, I decided I'm going to put 2 sets of bands out to our iGRID group. This is version 1, and I have version 2 getting finalized that will be incorporated into this iGRID pack. So in the iGRID pack, we get the iGRID alerts indicator, this iGRID dual bands indicator, the iGRID cloud, and the iGRID steps. You get 4 current indicators. We have a momentum tool we're going to add in, and a second set of bands. The second set of bands will be different from this one, and that way I can kind of keep incorporating this cluster of exceptional tools for trading prop accounts all together in one simple zip file with a activation deactivation process. Now, how I use the bands, some of the ways that I use these bands is to, let me go ahead and get it. Well, I'll use a drawing tool, is to pay attention to where the faster bands are coming back inside of the slower bands. I do pay attention to that. I also pay attention to if the main bands are in an upward trend when I'm getting hooks back in alignment with that, and prices at the mid band or below to be a buyer. So basically buying pullbacks and lift in uptrends, and doing just the opposite when the market has downtrends. So as the market's in a downtrend, I have any sort of kickbacks and rotations back in alignment with that trend. So if I'm getting lift, I want a drawing tool. If I'm getting lift and rotation on both the set of faster bands, so if the main bands are down and I'm getting lift and rotation downward, and price, where my entry would be, is in the middle part of the main bands or above, that's where I can be a seller. If I want to be a buyer in an uptrend, I need to be in the middle part of the main bands. So I need to be in this area, mainly below the mid band, to be a buyer. So when this hooks and this hooks, when they're both hooked, now that's the area of price I can be a buyer. Stop never more than most recent pivot, pull back buyer, and so on. So if I'm going to be long the market, I never want to entry above the mid band. The value area to be a buyer is below the mid band on the main bands. The value area to be a seller is above the mid band to be a seller, and so on. That makes sense. So anyhow, we have the bands, we have the cloud. The cloud is very nice because I've created the ability to go in and have full adjustability on both sides of this cloud, basically moving average tool. So I can go down and do something like a 19 over 19, so it's a comparative 19 over 19. I have the ability to turn on arrows up and down. So I can make it hyper responsive to price. I can make it less responsive to price. I can differentiate one of the moving averages from the other, or I can make them both the same. They're 2 different types of moving averages. and so on. The nice thing about this is the starting point. I'm actually going to set this up to have 4 choices for the trigger side of the indicator. So 4 advanced math choices for the trigger, 4 advanced math choices. And it's not really EMA. We just need to change this to trigger and some other term, probably MA2, like moving average 2. So you can select what moving averages of the recent, like I'll use Aaron's, an updated version of T3, a unique smoothing one I have, and a cycle MA, and I'll give you those options in that. First thing, we just want to make sure we got everybody up and running. There's somebody out there that sells a very expensive tool like this, and basically you have no ability to adjust anything. I built my own from scratch, and I'm going to give you the ability to adjust the moving averages, which gives a lot more flexibility. And, that's nice. When you go time frame by time frame, you want the ability to adjust the moving average, how responsive it is to price, or have the trigger be differentiated from the main moving average. Have one 133 and one at 33. So there's just a lot of flexibility in how you can use that tool. And we're just getting warmed up. I'm going to add more flexibility and more moving average types that nobody else is really using, incorporated into that indicator. Okay, we also have the iGRID MA alerts, which has been extremely popular. Let's pull that up. So I removed the iGRID cloud, so you just see the iGRID. You can see it right there. That is the iGRID alerts. You have multiple axis of adjustabilities. You do have draw vertical line and sound alerts at the flip points. That stuff can be removed. So you can just see the indicator, lots of adjustability and so on. So anyhow, we have the iGRID pack ready to go for our group. We have this indicator tied into what we call our GR88 trade. We use this with the cloud. So we'll be able to conduct all our prior trade setups, but then now have a lot more flexibility in the adjustability. And the dual bands, I know traders have wanted that for some time. So I decided to take both versions, kind of one version that I like to use for my own trading, and then the newer version that I'm using for a different style of trading. And we'll get those incorporated. But yeah, it's all ready to go. The iGRID pack is now available. We do have a unique momentum tool that's going to be added into the pack. So we're working on all that. We're going to do a lot of updates over the next 7 to 10 days and keep adding some goodies in and make this a very feature and a lot of content in just one indicator. So there you have it. If you have any questions, info@gridalgo.com. The iGRID pack is now available for our current GridAlgo group members, and we now have the dual bands out. We call it the iGRID bands as part of the iGRID pack indicator. So there you have it. Have a great holidays ahead, and talk to you soon.